my name is Kelly. Welcome to week 16 of our I Choose to Love My Life journey. This week we're talking about living stress-free, and I'm so excited that my husband is joining us this week. So, John, welcome. Glad you're here. This week, as we talk about living stress-free, one of the things that I really want to emphasize is that we all have stressors. John and I have been married for almost a year and a half now, and we've experienced lots of stressors in that time. Lots of wonderful things, which can also be stressors, but also lots of just challenging things. Everything from moving our wedding date up when my dad was diagnosed with well, he wasn't diagnosed with cancer, but he was given 6 months to live. And so we changed our wedding date knowing we wanted him to be there, but that was a stressor. I got pregnant right away, which was an incredible joy, but a major stressor came when I went through lots of challenges with morning sickness and a variety of things. We also experienced my dad's death and just the grieving part of that. Having a new child within our first year of marriage, which was, again, a complete joy, but also those of you who are parents know it's also a stressor.
That's right.
So lots of different things. And so one of the things that we've realized is that it's very much our perspective toward those stressors. We all have stressors, whether they're good things or bad things, but it's how we approach those things that is most important. And so this couple of weeks ago, we had a particularly challenging week ourselves. Just all kinds of different things from every different angle. But what we realized is that in the grand scheme of things, these things weren't really that big of a deal. They just seem like major stressors at the point. And so we realized we actually handled the stressors differently. And so that's what we want to talk about today. For me, just being able to process through it with John and share my challenges with the situations was such a release for me. And it was also just a great release to spend that time with God and to just really listen and look in scripture and find different areas where I could really glean wisdom and insight as to what God was saying. And so eventually the stressors are gone, and they're virtually gone now. So how about you? How is it different for you?
Well, stress can be coped with in lots of different ways. You can do a social approach where you disclose how you're feeling to someone, a loved one, or you can just get social support from somebody. Another thing you can do is stress is going to just tap out your energy. So what you might want to do is figure out ways to conserve that energy. So one way to do it would be to make sure that you're exercising regularly and eating well. I know sleeping well can be hard when you're stressed out, but getting the normal amount of sleep is going to keep your energy level up. And what I did during this particularly trying week, we were dealing with financial things and dealing with difficult people and just trying to figure out big plans. What I did was, we were thinking about this right before we were going to go to bed, and I thought, if I'm going to keep thinking about this stuff, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. So what I did was I just engaged in some slow breathing exercises, and of course that worked, and I went right to bed. I went right to sleep after that. And if I had not done that, I probably would have had a pretty hard time going to sleep, and that just makes things worse. So one thing you want to think about is can you change your perspective on it? Is this really going to be a short-term stressor or something that you're going to deal with for a long period of time? If it's a short-term stressor, all you have to do is keep that in mind, and many times you can get through that. You can hunker down and really soldier through it. If it's a long-term stressor, you might want to consider some of those better coping mechanisms that are for long-term, like keep making sure your body's healthy, controlling your breathing and making sure that you're breathing slowly, and some people call it meditation. It really could just be slow breathing. That can work. But really just concentrating on calming yourself down. So all of those should work.
And I think one important point to make is that we all have stressors. And so to not stuff those things down and act like they don't happen, we have to deal with the stressors. And so I think oftentimes it is changing the perspective or doing some of those other things like exercise and breathing and making sure we get adequate rest. Those things are all vitally important to living a stress-free life. In our I Choose to Love My Life book, we give you a variety of different ways to cope with stress and to live stress-free. So check it out in that resource. And be sure to go over to our blog, leave a comment below this video, and share one of the ways that you deal best with stress and coping with stress. Have a great week.